Good evening, Dr. Vatsala, Roshini, Naveen, and the grandchildren and friends. It's an honor and privilege, though a sad moment, for me to speak at the prayer meeting of Dr. Manohar David. First of all, I should correct myself and say it's not a sad moment because knowing Dr. Manohar David, he lived a full life. He was as large as life and he was always happy. And if he were alive today, he would say, celebrate my life more than mourn for my going away. So, with that tone, I'd like to speak about him since nearly 4 or maybe even 5 decades of association with him. The first time I met him was in the late 70s when I was a very young surgeon at Dharapuram CSM Mission Hospital, where he had come to conduct a camp, an eye camp for the mission hospital. For about a week, his team from MG Hospital of surgeons had conducted nearly 1,000 screening cases, out of which 1/3 of the cases required cataract and other operations. So, though I was the only surgeon in the mission hospital and I had only one table and one theatre, I had made 3 tables for him because they had 300 cases to finish in 3 days. Dr. Manohar David, when I was such a junior surgeon at that time, was a very famous eye surgeon, and I was scared to even go up and speak to him. I just met him very briefly and I knew how he instructed everybody at the end of the camp because he couldn't be there for the whole camp. He was so busy in the MG hospital in Coimbatore. His team, I saw how he was directing his whole team to have the preoperative and operative surgical techniques. And during the 3 days, I had an emergency of an appendix to do, so I didn't want to disturb them. I went to a small treatment room, converted to like a table, and operated the torchlight. There was no anesthetist, so I gave spinal. And when I was doing the appendix, he came, and to my surprise, he said, "I'm very sorry to put you out of the way, and you're doing a good job." And sort of patted my back when I finished the operation, and had gone away. So I remember this incident very clearly because such a famous, such a big surgeon coming and patting you on the back and acknowledging your work was a very important thing to me. But later on, when I got to know him, this is something he did to everybody, not just surgeons, but just to anyone, including very small people in life. He always had a good word for everyone. So he was such a person who encouraged everybody. Subsequently, I saw it in his books because in 90, when I came from UK, I joined the Rotary. And though he was not there initially, Dr. Manohar David was there. And subsequently, he joined our Rotary Tech City. And I noticed that he had the same kind of quality of leadership, of encouraging other people, bringing out the best in you, and producing future leaders. And his favorite topic was transactional analysis. He had written several books, so whenever he came to our hospital bringing some other patient or for some checkup, he always made sure he brought me enough of these books in Tamil, and he left them with me and said, "John, you read them and then pass them on to others." So I remember him as a famous author as well. These are things you could never forget. The other aspect of him which people did not know was as a church leader. He was in TLC Church and he was a chairman of medical board and various other things which I'm sure other people will be talking about, so I will not touch upon it. As a Rotarian, he was really an outstanding Rotarian, very senior Rotarian. Every day we got up to speak in a meeting, either from the floor or as a speaker, he always contributed much more than an average Rotarian in knowledge and in his comments, advice and guidance to the club. Then last of all, I'd like to touch is upon him apart from a person, apart from a Rotarian, apart from a famous surgeon, apart from a church going Christian, is that part of him as a grandfather. Because once he rang me up and said, my grandson Rishi wants to know what to do after his schooling. He may want to be a doctor, may not want to be a doctor. So he has come down and I'm going to ask him to be with you for a week. And poor Rishi was drafted to my outpatients to spend this week of school holidays with me to see how a doctor functions. That time Rishi, he also was very proud to tell me that Rishi is a violinist. I am interested in violin. And so he said he should be with you and you have a lot in common. So I was glad to know his grandson as well, and the love he had for his family and Rishi as well as the other grandchildren is enormous. So with this few words I'd like to close. I'd like to play a small hymn for him. It's called Nearer My God to Thee. So I'll just play it because he always loved the violin, not only for me but also which Rishi used to play, and that's the reason why I didn't want to record this talk for you from the hospital. I just came back from the hospital. This is so that I could play this song for him. I wanted to record it at home. Thank you.